Rooted in Rising Family, welcome in, welcome in. Let's take a deep breath. All right, let's ring the sound bowl. Let's ring the sound bowl. All right, as always, this is a collective reading, so we're going to take what resonates. We're going to leave what does not. All right, everything is not for everybody. All right, again, collective reading. This is Oracle and Tarot, so we're not talking about gender, we're talking about energies. So we're not going to be speaking male, female. You're going to put yourself in whatever energy that you see fit. I will speak male, female because that is my preference, but that's not me telling you what is yours. Once again, take what resonates, leave what does not. Trust your own discernment above all else. Some things may be unfolding and may not be applicable to you, and others may really, really resonate with you. And sometimes we're just here for story time, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right, today's reading is a collective message. Once again, we use the Arcanum hybrid tarot an oracle deck by River. Aether, I'm not sure if I'm saying the last name right, but we also used it alongside of the Dreamy Home Fortune Reading Oracle deck, which is a really cute deck, little cute pink girly deck. So we're going to look into what Spirit is reminding us today. I did pull some cards, for myself and my own encouragement. Encouragement. Sometimes you just need insight about what's going on in your own stuff. Life definitely, lives. And, you can get discouraged at times. I know I am very good on putting a mask on. I'm very good at smiling. I'm very good at humor. I'm very good at looking like everything is A-okay, when it definitely isn't. So, well, that's just my, I guess, coping mechanism. We all have that. Laugh to keep from crying is more me. And for others, it may be other outlets. I am definitely a person outside looking in. You would think I don't need anyone. I have it all together. I'm independent. And have it all together as mean as I'm okay. I would look like I'm okay. I would put together, okay, don't need anyone. And honestly, like most of you, it's the furthest from the truth. And that is the only reason why I'm on here today. Because of my own feeling today. And I let that trickle on out into you. So while I'm being encouraged, you encourage others. Because sometimes situations mirror each other. And it's good to know that not everyone will continue to always act like they have it together. And that there's no problems. And that they're happy all the time. And they're never discouraged. They never go through anything. And life is perfect. It is not. All right. I'm just being honest, okay? We'll get to the reading, all right? Just letting you know what prompted this collective reading, especially since we already had one from yesterday, which still holds its value. This was just stemmed from my own personal reading and my own personal encouragement, because life is hard, whether you are in pairings or not, in pairings or not, life is life, and especially when everything is you. Every notice is yours. Every bill is yours. Every emotional struggle is yours. Everything that has to do with life belongs to you, and that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of weight. There's a lot of weight on more than one person, but definitely a lot of weight on one. And frankly, if I'm being honest, I'm tired. I'm worn out just a bit. We've gone through some retrogrades, and during those things, things were brought up and issues were dealt with that needed to be dealt with, and connections were dealt with that had to be dealt with. I'm talking about my own self, and which means it's not just limited to me. You may resonate with that as well. And with that, sometimes it just comes, the aftermath of that comes with it, okay? All right, but anyway, We'll go on to the message. It's a good one. It's put together. Voiceover today because I'm multitasking and I honestly just, I'm not in the mood to, you know, be shown today, honestly. And anyway, so this is just an encouragement about different things like that. So I know we went through a lot of things with letting go connections and things like that. You may have let go of romantic connections, friendships, family connections, and different things like that. I definitely have as well. But for me, it's the letting go was, it wasn't a big deal to let go because it wasn't really, much of anything to let go, as in it's not like any of the connections I let go was the best. Sometimes it's just admitting to yourself that it's not the best, because when you let it go, then it's like, well, who do you really have? When honestly, you never really had anybody in the first place, all right? Fake friends or being tolerated as opposed to really connected is two different things. Feeling obligated to deal with you is a lot different than genuinely wanting to be around you, okay? And I'm not speaking of just romantic connections, all right? I'm speaking all the way around in my aspect, okay? I've always been the one that's tolerated. That's just how the dynamic has always been in my connections, in my family, in everything. So it is what it is. The most talked about, right? But just tolerated. And that's hard sometimes when you have to confront it. All right. It definitely looks like a different thing on paper. It does. Happy home, happy suburban life. No, that's what it looks like, I'm telling you. But the reality of what it's always been. And then it trickles out into all other connections. But I've already gone way too long in this. Okay. What we do is we begin with the Wheel of Fortune. That's how things start out. And immediately Spirit wants to reassure someone, me, you all rooted and rising, that your life is not at a standstill simply because it feels quiet, all right? Many of you spent a lifetime feeling like the outsider, all right? Especially when you're definitely a genuine heart, caring and kind heart. Yeah, people don't know how to really deal with that. And if you're the chain breaker in your family, you definitely feel it. All right, definitely feel it. The most authentic one, all right, is usually, especially if you're if the dynamic is a toxic dynamic, you are not going to be received very well at all. All right, but the one who was tolerated but never fully embraced, black sheep, right? The one who watched friendships happen for everyone else while wondering why connection always seemed just out of reach, or why nobody would really want to connect with you. Again, you have a light that shines so bright that bothers people who are not on the same wavelength as you, rooted in rising. No matter what your area of worship is, it's the same. All right, so some of you are waiting for healthy friendships because you let those things go. And some are longing for genuine family because you let those things go. So you want to connect with what's called maybe your soul family. All right. People who kind of step in if you have done some letting go of, the label of family, really, and just realizing it is what it is, that just because they're labeled family and they treat you pretty crappy doesn't mean you have to keep them around. Again, for me, the hard part is not letting go of a connection that really wasn't a connection. It's more so coming to terms with yourself about what it was always and what it wasn't, especially in a family dynamic. All right, what that was supposed to be and represent, how it really wasn't for you ever. And that there were times, you hold on because it's like your family can love bomb you as well. And, I'm speaking from years of experience in that. All right, where there are moments when it's wonderful, when it's spectacular, and then it's just horrible. And so you always think, well, the potential is there. So you hold on, after all, they are family, especially when they're your immediate family, okay? All right. So, again, you don't always have to keep them around just because they're family. Speaking from experience, all right? I have gone through a very, very traumatic surgery. And I had to relearn how to do a lot of things. Walking, well, before I could walk, I had to learn how to stand. And then I had to learn how to stand holding something. I had to remember how to do that again because I didn't just have surgery on my back, surgery on my neck. That's like neurosurgery. So I had to tell myself, you can do more than one thing at one time again. All right. And during that time, family should embrace you, but mine did not. All right. It was very lonely, a very lonely time where I mostly healed on my own. And I had to return home to really finish healing. And help really wasn't what it was. All right. Ended in it pretty badly. All in all, I was kind of, a bum and a vagabond, right? And discarded. And basically get in where you fit in because you are a grown woman and you shouldn't be here with us regardless of being, kind of in a sense torn open from the neck down and learning how to do everything again and recovering, in which we know, it wasn't going to be a, done today, process, done today, healed tomorrow process. At that time, it was going to be a very substantial amount of time to recover fully. All right. But those are some of the things, but all in all, they're family. So, you still keep that hope of things. All right. So I'm only just giving you parts so that you know that if you've dealt with some things like that where, you should have had people around you, you should have been embraced, but you weren't. You're not alone, okay? All right. And honestly, most of my moments like that where I should have had somebody have been really mostly alone. But anyway, so some of you are waiting for healthy friendships and some are longing for a genuine family, and they don't have to be, in your case or mine, they don't have to be blood to be family. All right, others have a romantic connection that feels complicated, delayed, or maybe filled with words that have never been spoken. Twin flame connections often come together very hard. They come together at all. They're lessons. And you may be going through all of this at the same time, or just, some of it, or not all of it may pertain to you. But Spirit is letting you know this is not your permanent reality. Again, the Wheel of Fortune is about the wheel turning in your favor. It's destined connections, all right? There are fortunate opportunities and destined connections already moving towards you, even if your physical world hasn't really reflected them yet, all right? Sometimes destiny is working long before it becomes visible, but the wheel has turned on situations. Things are being closed out. Closure is coming to connections that weren't the best, as people realize this connection never really served me in a very good way. All right. And so just like you are closing out cycles and closing out toxic energies, your connections, your soul family, your divine pairings may be also doing the same thing because we tend to mirror one another. Okay. Learning the lessons, building who you are. All right. Yes, making you stronger, but it's like building who you are. You're growing in wisdom, you're growing in perseverance, you're growing in mindset, because since you have been through a great deal of things, again, when you are like a divine being, you usually have, you tend to understand or empathize more with other people. So you're able to reach other people a lot differently and connect with them a lot differently than others. All right, especially if you've got that real high calling, it's something that you just got to go and do. All right, which most of you do, even if it's just breaking some things within your family dynamics that are unhealthy and that needs to break. All right, and if you've been treated like I have, usually that is you. You're going to do that. You're going to change mindsets and change the trajectory of your family line. All right. Next, we move on to the Six of Pentacles. This reminds us that healthy relationships are never built upon one person constantly pouring while others continually receive. All right, Six of Pentacles, that's equal give and take. That's equal even in energy, equal energy exchange. So many of you have known what it feels like to overextend yourselves. All right, and I'm not talking about those who are kind of like me, where they have no choice but to overextend themselves in every area of life in order to survive. I'm talking about in connections. You're doing that in life, and then you're also doing that in your connections, where you're the one that's always pouring, always giving, always doing, and very little receiving is coming your way. All right, so to give loyalty before it was earned, many of you know that, right? Many of you know what it's like to offer understanding that wasn't returned, kindness and genuineness, and a lot of people don't understand that. So if you offered those things, you probably threw people off at that because they don't understand it. They might have mistook it for other things. But again, many of you know what it feels like to overextend yourself, to give loyalty before it was even earned, and to offer understanding that wasn't returned. All right, to be that safe place for everyone else, while secretly wishing someone will become that safe place also for you. All right, well, Spirit is restoring balance in that area, in those areas. All right, the relationships entering your life are meant to feel reciprocal. All right, we're giving and receiving, they happen naturally. All right, where appreciation isn't something you have to earn, where your presence is valued instead of merely tolerated. All right, and those connections are on the way for you, especially since you've cleared some things out and made room for them. All right, the Ten of Cups follows immediate after, and this card is coming right after the Six of Pentacles, what is equal give and take, or even in energy exchange. Is beautiful because Spirit is not just talking romance. We know Cups deals with our emotions of all kinds. This is true emotional fulfillment in every form. All right, a home that feels peaceful, friendships that feel like family, in conversations where you no longer have to explain who you are, where you're not being constantly misunderstood. All right, where people meant for you won't make you feel like you're too much, or you have to hide a part of who you are. All right, they won't make you question whether you belong or not. You will feel included. All right, you'll simply know that you've arrived somewhere, that your soul can finally rest, that you're safe there. All right, that you're safe with this group of people, or for romantic pairings, you're safe in that connection to be who you are. All right, then comes the Three of Cups, confirming very beautifully that a season of connection is approaching. All right, Three of Cups, that's merriment, that's joy. Those are social gatherings, that's community and friendships. That's what that card generally stands for. All right, so some of you have been accustomed, like me, to solitude. Very much the hermit mode. Hermit mode, the hermit goes in. It's not quite isolation to be in a hermit mode. You go in and usually go and get like a spiritual reckoning and awakening. But the hermit does spend a lot of time alone. But anyway, some of you have become so accustomed to solitude that you've almost convinced yourself this is simply how life will always be. And Spirit wants to gently tell you no, or gently tell me no and then tell you no. Right, yeah. There are people who will celebrate your victories without competing with you, as in jealousy or envious energy. That's why they want to compete with you, even when you're not even competing or don't even know you're in a competition. Your very appearance just brings competitive energy, and you're just out here shining, being you, and people are competing with you secretly, because they're intimidated by you, and you're just trying to mind your business, or you're really genuinely trying to either help out or accomplish something within the structure you're trying to accomplish it, and it's made hard because people are just competing with you without you even knowing why or that they're doing it. Usually it's just knowing how they act towards you. All right, people will clap when you succeed. People will, God. All right, let me take a moment there. People won't disappear when your light begins to shine. Because because like I said, when it hits those little wounds, it's like, ouch, ouch. Oh, I'm laughing because vulnerability is beginning to shine. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, people will clap when you succeed, and people won't disappear when your light begins to shine, which it shines naturally. But when you really begin to show who you are, it makes people uncomfortable because it highlights their insecurities, and they feel like their insecurities is your problem then. So, it comes out in the way they treat you or isolate you. Do your best. I'm not the best at it because I have been so accustomed to, I don't know, behaviors. I generally don't try too much anymore, but allow yourself to remain open to community. All right, the isolation you've experienced is not a life sentence, so come out of hermit mode. Come out of Four of Cups is kind of like that too. It's kind of being forlorn, and that is actually isolation, kind of isolating yourself. There's some cups knocked down, and you're only concentrating on the cups that are knocked down and not realizing that you have other cups that are still standing up right in front of you. So, even though it is hard, and even though you have just become accustomed to being treated a certain way, even if it doesn't start out that way, it starts out wonderful. And again, above, like I said, when you start to shine, and then it, then that competition energy rears its ugly head. So you have to allow yourself to remain open to community. Just try, even though that's hard, because you're used to what you're used to. All right, I got a story for that. I joined a choir at a church. I was, I guess attending, and I joined the choir, and the choir director, had asked me to sing a solo, and despite what you all may witness, I'm very shy. Oh, shy energy is just covered up with laughter and jokes and things like that. But anyway, very shy, and always have been. I have performed a lot of places. I have performed in stadiums, and always shy, very scared. So needless to say, it took it took some convincing for me to do it. He just really, really asked, and I didn't want to. And again, partly because I'm not a singer, like some have that I'm gonna call it Leo energy, very Leo energy, just out there. Here I am, watch me shine. I'm not that much. I'm not so much. I was like, okay, I sing, and I'll do it if it's needed. I'll do it when I like it, or when I want to. But I'm not like, you have to. I'm the star of the show at all times, So I agreed, and I really didn't want to. Again, he was just like, you got a wonderful voice. Just go ahead, and people will enjoy it. I was skeptical. About it, and I just agreed to do it. So we practiced. We did. It was a song I mostly already knew, but again, you still practice, right? And so on that Sunday, I got up and I did it. I sang beautifully. I really did, beautifully, all over the place. One of those songs that are soft, high, low, all over the place. One of those, all right. And you have a stronger voice. That's what people seem to expect. That's all they want you to do, is all this ripping and running all over the place with your voice. Yes, that is the fire alarm. My, child does that. Every time he comes out of the shower, the fire alarm goes off because all of the steam and stuff. But anyway, bottom line is, I sang the song. I sang beautifully. The choir director, he accompanied me on the piano, obviously, and of course there was some drumming, not like a full band or something, just piano and drums, and I just sang so beautifully, before the Lord. and I kept going, and look, there was not a sound in that whole congregation, and not a sound as in I'm paying attention to her. Not It was not a sound, but not in a good way. The energy was so horrible. Yeah, one person that stood up and was like, kind of like, what in the world is wrong with everybody? And it was like, okay, well, I'll get into it if you won't. So it was very hard to get through it, honestly. If those who have been on stage before, when however your audience is, sometimes it's very hard to keep going. But yeah, they were very deadpanned, and the energy was just horrible. And so the song came to an end, and nothing. This was not praise and worship. This was not choir singing. This was a regular solo. Not a clap. Pastor came back and was like, okay, he was like, all right, he once again said, this is, name Tiffany. This is Tiffany. The song was whatever else, and let's give encouragement. And even after he said that, nothing, not a sneeze, nothing. Just everybody deadpan, and so I was just like, oh, well, even though the choir director was so floored, and I just looked, because I was like, I didn't want to do this in the first place. The pastor apologized to me as we went on the stage. And I went on in the back and did my thing, in the back room and stuff, and, got prepared for whatever else was next. And it perplexed the choir director. It didn't perplex me. And so, again, Fairy Three of Cups energy is people celebrating with you. You won't have to have people deadpan you. Because how dare you? How dare you shine? All right. This church was not a mega church. This is a regular congregation. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you're too big for your britches, as in, your light and your energy is too big for where you are. People don't like it. But anyway, you'll have people clap when you succeed. All right. They won't deadpan you like that. You have people who will enjoy that your light is shining. And they won't mind it shining because they know that they have a light of their own that's also shining alongside yours. And so, again, they'll shine alongside with you, and you guys will shine together, okay? All right, Nine of Cups is next. All right, that continues this encouragement. All right, Nine of Cups, you get to stop measuring your life solely by what hasn't happened yet. You look at everything that you've gone through and you've survived. I've survived a lot, I survived a lot. Most haven't survived from, literally. And most of that alone. You look at the wisdom you've gained, and you look at the strength you've developed simply because life required it. And you celebrate yourself. All right? Not because every prayer has been answered. Again, prayer goes across religious dynamics, but because you became someone capable of carrying those blessings, or carrying those good things, or those wish fulfillments, as a Nine of Cups means, when they arrive. All right, your desires are beginning to align with reality. That's what wish fulfillment is, Nine of Cups. All right, and sometimes going through all of these things, it again, the wisdom you've gained, your strength you've developed, your discernment that's developed, and all of the things that you're able to bestow on other people, very sage advice and all those things, because of what you've gone through. I'm going to reiterate, it has made you capable of carrying what's coming. All right. You can't get handed things that you can't handle because you're immature to handle, or else you wouldn't be able to sustain it. All right. And a lot of life lessons, and especially those in chain breaker energy and 144 energies, these divine feminine, divine masculines, chosen people, set apart people. However you want to put that, a lot of times that's what it is. Whatever it is that you're walking into is something great, and you have to be capable of carrying it. All right, so sometimes you have lessons that are just not the best to learn, and sometimes you learn those lessons for them, alone, hermit mode, spiritual awakenings. You go through all those things. You come out of those things on top, wiser, able to give sage wisdom and advice, able to discern quickly, efficiently, able to build and grow and go around obstacles more quickly, more efficiently. Things that would have shut you down is not even, that's just Tuesday for you now, right? It doesn't stop you. So you needed all of those lessons, those hard lessons, in order to prepare you for wish fulfillment, for what's coming, okay? And for some of you, what's already is beginning to trickle in. Two of Wands is next, and that asks an important question of myself and of you. Will you remain... Oh, God, I hate stuff. I hate emotions sometimes. We need them, right? Will you remain emotionally attached to what is familiar simply because it is familiar? All right. Will you stay attached to... let's give a title. Will you stay attached to mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, just because that's what they're called to you? All right? Especially if those energies have betrayed you, thrown you under the bus, slandered your name, think you're less than dirt, thrown you and yours out in the street. And to them, you're nothing but a vagabond and a beggar. All right? Do you choose to stay emotionally attached because of what it looks like to society? And that's what you're supposed to do. After all, they are family. All right? Or will you trust yourself enough to step towards something you've never experienced before? And even in romantic connections, will you still remain emotionally attached to what is familiar? Toxic energy is familiar. I'm used to being degraded. I'm used to being ignored. I'm used to being taken for granted. I'm used to being controlled. I am used to arguments. I'm used to cheating. And I'm used to lots of different things, lots of types of abuses. All right? Would you hold on to that because that's what you know? All right? Would you remain emotionally attached to a connection that you know is toxic simply because of what society says something should look like, and it's familiar? Or would you trust yourself enough to step towards something you've never experienced before? Genuine love and reciprocity, trust, wholesome communication, movement and momentum forward. All right? Equal energy exchange, peace in the home. All sounds so simple. All the things I've always ever wanted in family and all connections. And I just never understood why there was always such a big deal around the people I was around. Like, why is it so hard just to do the simplest thing? Even in all of my romantic connections, I never understood why everything had to be so hard. Anyway, I'm saying that because, you could display what is normal, what is real, and it's just made difficult or hard because that's normal and real for you, or that's how something should be for you, but not for the other person. They know nothing but how to create discord within you. Being unequally yoked, as the Bible says, it has a little to do with religious beliefs, but very little actually. All right, unequally yoked. Two people can believe the same thing religiously and be unequally yoked. Where you have one that's kind and compassionate and understanding and willing to work and move forward, wants to work things out, And you have one that wants to cause discord, and all they know is how to slander and tear you down and tear your everything down. Everything good about you, tear it up and trample all over it and make it difficult and make the world hate you so that you're isolated and alone. You have no way to flee and no way to get out. All right? But they go to church every Sunday with you, right? You're still unequally yoked. All right, anyway, some of you have become comfortable with loneliness because it feels predictable. Predictability can sometimes disguise itself as safety. That's what you know. Spirit is inviting you to go beyond the limits of your previous experiences. And don't assume your future has to resemble your past, because it won't. It won't. Whitney Houston said, "It's not alright, not okay." Was it? "I'm gonna make it anyway. Pack your bags up and leave." Because she said she would rather be alone than unhappy. And you're going to have to be satisfied with that. All right? No more connections that don't resemble the divine masculine and feminine, which is emperor and empresses that you are. The 144 beings that you are, the chosen that you are, the chain breakers that you are, all right, the generational curse breakers that you are. You're going to have to get rid of all those connections that don't resemble you. The Bible speaks of being unequally yoked. That has very little to do with connecting with others who don't believe as you do. You could believe the same thing and be sitting next to somebody. I'm going to raise hands because he was a Christian. He was a Christian all the while he knocked me down all those goddamn steps. So, I mean, that's still being unequally yoked. Pearls before swine. All right? I was always a pearl. And so are you, rising. So stop letting people trample on you so that, you could appear like the swine that they are. All right, we're closing up. I didn't even want it to be this long. Look at me. That leads to the Eight of Swords from that Two of Wands energy, because the Two of Wands is making plans. So it's like you're making plans. Plans have not been made yet. That's your decision point. What are you going to do? That's your business plan. Are you going to stay in something you know is just not great for you, or let that energy linger? For those who have cut it off, you're like me. You cut it off, but you're still at a decision point. Because it's familiar, you think of going back. I'm going to raise my hand there. I'm not exempt from that. You think I should just deal with this, or it's just easier to do this, or just easier to tolerate this. It'd be easier to just reconnect. Or this is as good as it gets. That movie, it's an old movie. This is as good as it gets, so I just have to deal with it. That's your decision point. Are you going to be, stuck in the past emotionally and not let it truly, fully go? All right. Are you going to move forward? That's the Eight of Swords. That's the mental trap, the mind trap, or limitation. So notice that this limitation doesn't first appear in your external circumstances. It's mental, sword energy. It appears in your thoughts. Years of disappointment and rejection, and not even feeling overlooked, being literally overlooked, both. Those experiences can quietly convince you that, they're evidence of what your future must become. Again, there's nothing great to look forward to in a person or a connection. I have only ever known toxic masculine energy, and so that's all I can expect. All right, that's an example. And a reality for me, but an example. And I'm not just talking about romantic connections, all of them. But anyway, those experiences can quietly convince you that they're evidence of what your future must become, but they're not. They're memories, right? It's in the mind, not prophecies. You're coming out of it. So a lot of this stuff comes up to come out. All right. Spirit says many of you are far more free than you realize. All right. This mental trap or prison, it has become familiar, but the door has already begun to open. All right. Then we have the Queen of Wands. We're just about at the end. We clarify that with the Seven of Wands. And that kind of shifts the message in its entirety, right? So normally the Queen of Wands will represent confidence and magnetic energy. She'll resemble that portion of the Empress, the Divine Feminine, because Divine Feminine has all of the qualities of the Queens: Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, just like the Emperor does: King of Wands, King of Swords, King of Pentacles, King of Cups. So this is that portion. Queen of Wands represents confidence and magnetic energy again. But here, Spirit is showing us the shadow side. This is the pressure that comes when people project onto your light. And the shadow side is because it's clarified by the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is like holding or standing your ground. Very protective energies. Very like, if you're feeling froggy jump energy, right? Some of you have spent your lives dimming yourselves. I have. Because your confidence makes other people uncomfortable, or has made other people uncomfortable. And I'm going to say makes because it still does. And then, you've kind of learned to become smaller so you won't be criticized, or you hope you won't be criticized. It never worked, and it won't, because you can't make yourself smaller. Others question your motives simply because you carried yourself with quiet strength. All right. And Queen of Wands is very noticeable energy, whether you're very attractive or not. Queen of Wands. There's no way Queen of Wands is not noticed. She's noticed. That energy is noticed. All right. Because Queen of Wands doesn't mean it's a woman. So I'm saying that energy is noticeable. It's magnetic, and it pulls you towards magnetic. You cannot help but be drawn to that person. So your reputation in that energy is people being drawn to you, but then treating you very poorly because of it. All right. Because of their insecurities. Some of you spent, again, your lives dimming yourself. Your confidence made other people uncomfortable. You learned to become smaller, or you tried to be so you wouldn't be criticized. All right. Again, others question your motives because you carried yourself with a quiet strength, and you're very attractive as well. So they assume the worst of you. All right. Or there's something about you that's magnetic. So they just assume the worst of you. All right. You're just out there trying to get everybody's man, Queen of Wands. In whether you're masculine or feminine or everybody's woman, just out there trying to take everybody, just trying to mind your business. Yes, you do want someone, but you're not for everyone, and that's the point. They don't get that. You're an energy that's not for everyone. If you were for everyone, you'd have the plethora of friends. You have no problem with the social circle. All right, if you were for everybody. All right, and I'm not talking about in that way, but if you were for everybody, then everybody could handle you, but you're not. It's why people have a problem being around you, because you point out all of their insecurities. All right, highly attractive energy, but an energy that wants to attract divine partnership and cannot be with just anybody, and does not want to be with just anybody. But anyway, that's a misconception, because you're highly attractive or magnetic. So people assume the worst of you. Anyway, the Seven of Wands says stand anyway. Stand your ground. Defend your peace. Defend your healing. Defend the version of yourself you work so hard to become. Do not dim your light. Not every opinion deserves access to your spirit. Yes, I am a person that gets hurt like everybody else. I feel, even though to me people treat me like I don't feel. Like my feelings just don't mean a damn thing. All right? Like things said or done wouldn't hurt me, because after all, who am I anyway? Just, out here doing the most, I guess, with whoever, who knows. And I don't deserve peace, love, or respect. All right. Anyway, not every opinion deserves access to your spirit. All right. I do carry that attitude. I do carry strength. I have to. But I am still, an actual person that feels. So it doesn't mean that I feel the greatest. I'm just used to it, which is, not something that anybody should have to say. All right, rooted and rising, you shouldn't have to say, you're just used to it. All right, anyway, we have oracle cards that were weaved, that kind of weave everything together beautifully. The oracle card, the Dryer, reminds us that healing is a cycle of release. Every season sheds another layer of what no longer belongs. You kind of become lighter. Not because life has been easy, it has not, we already know that, but because you're no longer carrying everything that once weighed you down. All right, then we have the flute glass, which speaks of celebration. Spirit is already preparing reasons for you to raise a glass. Some victories, of course, haven't arrived yet simply because they're, still being wrapped or taken care of. That's very much that Three of Cups energy, the flute glasses. Kind of go hand in hand with that because they're both speak of celebration, and merriment and joy and community and just enjoying yourself and your social circles. All right, even good news, something to raise a glass for. Then we have the trash can. Again, one final time, Spirit is asking you and telling you to release what has already released you. And for some of you, they released you as soon as you came out of the womb. They were never good to you. It was just you coming to terms to what it really always has been and was. And even in romantic connections, you're going to have to release it fully. You cannot receive with closed hands. All right. If you're still holding on to old disappointments and betrayals and old versions of yourself, there isn't room for, what is going to arrive and trying to arrive. All right. We have the owl. The owl reminds us that unexpected visitors often become unexpected blessings. That's what the card says. All right. It's a beautiful card. A conversation, a friendship, an opportunity, a connection, something or someone that you never planned for may completely redirect your path. And it sounds like, that's on its way for you. All right. And that may be a more so a romantic connection as well. There. All right. The television channels that cautions against constantly looking everywhere at once. All right. Stay focused. Comparison will distract you. That card reminds against changing the channel. Like you're going to get something different over here, over there, over there. So you're always shifting focus, shifting direction, and in my case, moving. Well, a lot of times I've had to move, but moving as well. But television channels, that oracle card just cautions you about constantly looking everywhere and having your focus everywhere. All right. It wants you to stay focused. All right. And that comparison and comparing your lives to others and just comparison of any kinds will distract you. Even fear will distract you. All right. Overthinking every possible outcome, that'll distract you. So you have to keep your eyes on your journey. All right. Spirit knows where they're taking you. All right. They know where you're being led and trust that. Okay. And so stay focused. Stay the course, basically. You're headed in the right direction. Keep working on what you're working on and doing what you're doing, and those connections, let them come your way, and keep those connections that weren't the best for you away from you. And don't be tempted to look backwards. The clock says that the season won't remain the same forever. When the opportunities present themselves, don't allow fear to make every decision for you. Some doors are meant to be walked through while they're open. All right? So the clock also speaks of divine timing as well. You have divine timing playing out in your love life and in every area of, all of your other connections as well. But definitely in love, there seems to be divine timing really at play. All right, so that means that you have to let things unfold as they unfold and in the timing that they, unfold in. So definitely keep working on the things that you're working on, all of your other creative outlets and whatever else you got going, rooted and rising. All right, finally, we have the home gym. That reminds us that growth is rarely comfortable. It's not. Muscles strengthened through resistance and heart strengthened through healing. Soul strengthened through choosing hope after disappointment. And the breakthrough that you've been, waiting on, some of you praying for, may arrive disguised as the invitation to move beyond everything you've always known. Right? And that's really what Spirit is calling you to do. Is move beyond all the things that you've always known. If you've known a lifetime of pain and hurts and betrayals, it's Spirit is encouraging you to move beyond that. All right? You have to keep those other doors closed and move forward. And then you also have to have the heart and the mindset open to welcome what's coming in, the doors that need to open, right? The healthy connections that are coming in, the opportunities that are coming in. You have to have an open heart, open hands. You can't keep thinking that the past is just going to repeat itself. All right, well, Rooted and Rising family, if you have spent your life feeling like the outsider, if you wondered whether genuine love or genuine friendship, genuine belonging was simply meant for everybody else except you, and maybe you've been conditioned to believe that everybody else but you. I have been conditioned to believe that. I've been told that most of my life by people who were supposed to love me. I don't know if you ever been told, who would ever want to be with you, who would ever want to marry you. All right. That didn't just start in other toxic romantic connections. People saying that to me, that started in the home that I grew up in. Yeah. And by the first one that was supposed to show me, I don't know, supposed to model, healthy masculine behavior. So I kind of grew up with that notion, that always thinking that. But anyway, if you spent your lifetime again wondering whether genuine love or friendship and genuine belonging was simply meant for everybody except for you, Spirit. Spirit is answering no. All right, your story is not ending where your loneliness began. The wheel is already turning. All right, so keep releasing, keep trusting, and keep making room. Because what is meant for you won't require you to become someone else in order to receive it. All right, it will recognize who you have been all along. All right. And you have to be who you really are and who you've been all along. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. So I guess this is my moment of, continued vulnerability with you, Rooted and Rising. All right. Again, stay encouraged. I keep looking to my left here. I have like an oracle deck here, and the card that I keep, looking at because it's on my desk is closure, closure, closure. All right, Spirit is just emphasizing closure, letting go, ending chapters, emotional release, finally free. So for some of you, oh my God, for some of you, including me, all right, this may bring or help usher in closure. As always, stay rooted, stay rising, and aligned with all the divine gifts ahead.